Hey there, everyone. It's Gigi Sober Son. October 4th. Am I critical of other members of AA or new prospects? Do I ever say about other members, I don't think they're sincere, I think they're bluffing, or I think they're taking a few drinks on the quiet? Do I realize that my doubtful and skeptical attitude is hurting those members, if only in my attitude toward them, which they cannot help sensing? Do I say about prospects, they'll never make the program, or do I say they'll only last a few months? If I take this attitude, I am unconsciously hurting those prospects' chances. Is my attitude always constructive and never destructive? I don't know if I ever thought about it just sort of outright like that. I don't think they'll make it. It's just I've been burned a few times, and that's obviously my stuff. It's like I have really put myself out to help people, thinking that because they showed up to a meeting and seemed fairly sincere, like one guy was crying at his first meeting, and I don't know what else was going on with him, whether he was sneaking meds or something else on the side, but he just kind of seemed to want to use me for his, and please, I'm not complaining. It's just one of the lessons that I've learned, and I'm not taking the victim role, but I don't, this guy seemed sincere, like I said, at his first meeting, but then after that, it just kind of seemed like I was just somebody he called on to give him a ride or help him move or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's like, and drop my name in meetings, which is like, what, dude? He might drop my name and share something that I told him, and of course, it's not original from me. Most, if not everything, 99%. Probably 99.9% of what I share in meetings was stuff that I've heard from other people, you know what I mean? And so, but anyway, he, I bought him a notebook. This guy was basically homeless. I bought him a notebook and a pen and said, and gave him some assignments, and he didn't really get around to it. And that's really what I should gauge my, and I think I have a hard time letting go of sponsees. And I'm getting better at it, just to say, hey, look, whatever you think our relationship is, it's not really, if they're not working, if they're not doing the work that I assign them. I know that sounds ego, but as a sponsor, I feel like it's my responsibility. It's not just I'm your buddy, and I'm okay with that. Let's be buddies, but it's more important to get through the steps, because the one who drank will drink again. And so if obviously I'm not sponsoring anybody right now actively, but if somebody were to say, not do a what I call a God inventory, the attributes of God. I usually have people start with powerlessness and unmanageability, just one page of writing down their powerlessness. What are they powerless over? You know, the weather, the traffic, you know, other people's thoughts, that kind of thing. And then, you know, unmanageability is how their disease has kicked them in the butt, you know. And if they're not willing to do that, then, you know, we really don't have a sponsor-sponsee relationship. They're not willing to move ahead. And I developed that because someone was saying about the fourth step, like, I was so glad to finally get to the fourth step because there was something to do, something I could do. I could finally put pen to paper. So I thought, yeah, that's true. You know, like, why shouldn't there be some, you know, some kind of writing work to do for the first and second step? And the second step is really writing out what your concept of God is. You know, whether, you know, attributes of God that would really make you want to get to know this power source, you know, on a personal level. And I always say, like, you know, not just able to forgive, but willing to forgive. And not just willing to forgive, eager to forgive. And I think about the story of the prodigal son in the really big book, when the father, and I just heard this the other day, that it was not culturally acceptable for patriarchs, for men in general, to show emotion, to even run. And so when in that story he ran to his son, the father ran to his son when his son came back and kissed him and you know, and among other things, you know, the people of that day would have been like, what? Why would he be making such a big show of this, you know? But it was obviously a demonstration, analogy story of God's love for us, you know? So not just willing to forgive or capable of forgiving, but eager to forgive. Like every half step toward God we take, he runs to us. And it's such a wonderful image for me. So for me to, yes, you know, and I've heard people say in AA, we don't judge, you won't be judged here in AA, and that's not really true. I'm not trying to say whether somebody will make it or not, but yeah, I look at them and gauge their sincerity. I would never say in gospel, I don't think that guy's ever going to make it. You know, that's not helpful. And the big book does say that we do talk about prospects, but invariably it's couched, I guess, in love and tolerance. And so that's the main gauge, I guess, whether or not the, you know, discussion or discernment, to use kind of a pious term, discernment of someone's readiness and willingness to work is tempered in love and tolerance. Meditation for the day. To be attracted toward God and a better life, you must be spirit guided. There is wonderful illumination of thought given to those who are spirit guided. To those who are material guided, there is nothing in God or a finer life to appeal to them or to attract them. But to those who are spirit guided, there is strength and peace and calm to be found in communion with an unseen Lord. To those who believe in this God, they cannot see but whose power they can feel. Life has a meaning and purpose. They are children of the unseen Lord, and all human beings are their brothers and sisters. Yes, purpose and meaning is what I've been given in AA. Purpose and meaning. And I'll refer to it again. And I wish I knew the page number. I don't off the top of my head. Okay. It's on page 124. The chapter, The Family Afterward. Halfway down, the second full paragraph. Showing others who suffer how we were given help is the very thing which makes life seem so worthwhile to us now. Cling to the thought that in God's hands the dark past is the greatest possession you have, the key to life and happiness for others. With it, you can avert death and misery for them. And that is a wonderful purpose, that all the crap from my life can be fertilizer for other people's lives if I allow God to guide me. So, prayer for the day. I pray that I may be spirit guided. I pray that I may feel God's presence and power in my life. In the 10th step, it talks about having, when these crop up, selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, or fear, that we first at once ask God to remove it. Talk to somebody about it. Make amends if necessary, and then turn our thoughts towards someone we can help. Right? So that we must first turn to God when thoughts are troublesome. And so, and even when it talks about sex, it says, you know, if our thoughts are troublesome, we turn ourselves all the more to helping others. But first, again, it has to continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. And in the really big book, it talks about taking every thought captive to Christ. And so he can handle it. You know, and we may have to turn our thoughts over and over and over again and again and again until we experience freedom. But we really have to have want to have them removed, just like the character defects. If I want to indulge in lustful thoughts, and I go, oh, God, please take these away. You know, Lord have mercy. You know, that's a rhetorical, it can be a rhetorical statement unless I really want them removed. If I really acknowledge how, you know, dwelling on lustful fantasy thoughts can poison people's minds. So that is helpful to know. For sure. Seek God first. Everything else will come. Look up. Aim up. Rise up. Love y'all.